Hey everybody, it's Ola967 here again on YouTube for a brand new video. This is the sequel to my video from a couple of days ago, and it is going to be a guide on how to use Ivysaur. So yeah, I already did the Squirtle guide. I think it came out pretty decently, so I've decided to kind of stick to the formula a bit for this one. But yeah, I'm going to be covering Ivysaur. I think Ivysaur is very, very good. I think that at a lower level, Ivysaur is incredibly easy to learn, but I think that as you develop as a player and a Pokemon trainer main, there are a lot of intricate new sort of advanced things that you can do with Ivysaur that push the character and that make it a viable pick for people of all skill levels. I think that Ivysaur is genuinely insane, and he's basically my best out of the trio. And I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into making him good before the infamous Evo patch, where they nerfed Ivy and they buffed Zard, which honestly I'm okay with because I'd rather have Charizard do something than nothing. But obviously Ivysaur came off a little bit wonky from that patch. People were complaining that, oh, now Ivysaur is gutted, yada yada, but Ivysaur is still really, really good and has a lot of sick stuff going on. And I kind of want to showcase that today and show off that Ivysaur is still a really, really, really good Pokemon to use. In my personal opinion, I think that Ivysaur is the second best in the trio, behind only Squirtle, obviously. I think that Charizard is still a little bit of a ways behind Ivysaur, but all three are just so good that, it doesn't really make much sense in my eyes to really rank them, especially since they're part of the same character. But yeah, I'm really excited for this, so let's get right on into it. So as I just mentioned already, I think that Ivysaur is super good and is in the middle ground in terms of the so-called ranking for the three Pokemon in Pokemon Trainer's kit. I think that Ivysaur is definitely the most well-rounded out of the three Pokemon, though. Ivysaur has got really good range options for sort of, camping and keeping people at bay and testing with safe moves. And Ivysaur also has access to an incredibly godlike combo game. As I mentioned in the Squirtle guide, Squirtle's combos are, a lot of long strings that, you have to use a lot of different moves for, and you accumulate a massive amount of damage off of 6-7 hits. Ivysaur is a lot different in that Ivysaur's combos rely on less hits, but they still deal a ton of damage. For example, a decent Ivysaur combo would be just, up throw, up air. And that's going to net you already around 26%, right? It's a lot of damage for just a basic combo. Which is why I say that Ivysaur is good for all skill levels, because you got those nice easy combos, but then you have more advanced stuff like his kill confirms, down throw, double nair, vine whip, which will honestly net you a kill against a lightweight at around 20% as a starting point, which is crazy. And a lot of people don't talk about it and don't even perform these moves in tournaments, which is insane to me. In terms of the game plan with Ivysaur and what you should be aiming to do, I personally feel that you need to be very well-rounded. A lot of people like to play Ivysaur really defensively, and don't get me wrong, Ivy has the options for that. What I've said before, Ivysaur's got a lot of long-range tools, so you can kind of just camp a little bit with Razor Leaf, you can throw out some forward airs, back air is super fast and super safe, and you can use that to keep people at bay as well. You kind of play this patient game, waiting for people to make a mistake, bait some stuff out, and then you get the hard punish with stuff like up air. But I think that playing aggressively is where Ivysaur really, becomes the monster that he is. Vine Whip kills super, super early and has a lot of confirms into it. Same thing with up air. Down air, even though it got nerfed, is still a dangerous spike, and you can easily edgeguard a lot of characters with, even some characters with good recoveries. You can still kind of jank them out with that move. It's insane. So I think that when playing Ivy, you have to have this balance, and you need to be, quickly switching off into defense and offensive mode, because I think that Ivysaur has the best defense out of the three Pokemon. And so Ivy's obviously going to be very useful for keeping opponents at bay and stopping, people from going too crazy on you and just trying to calm down and reset neutral and regain the pacing of the match. But Ivy should not only be used for that. You should be pushing forward, trying to go for the crazy stuff. Link your combos together in your moves, because when Ivysaur is on point and is overwhelming the opponent, there's very little they can do. And I personally think that Ivysaur's advantage state is one of the most dangerous and volatile advantage states in the entire game, because I think that there are just so many options that you can take, and so many massively powerful moves with gigantic hitboxes that can just annihilate characters at stupidly early percents. There aren't a lot of characters in the game that have access to things like this, and a lot of Ivysaur's hitboxes are super generous. Like, they're either really long lasting, or they go super far away to the point where, it's very clear that Ivysaur's moves should not be hitting in the location that they're hitting. And I think that, if you want to become a good Pokemon trainer, you have to take advantage of this and use Ivysaur in these situations a whole lot more, instead of relying on just Charizard to net kills and do offensive-based gameplay. Yeah, the general rule of thumb is to just use Ivysaur for, mid percents and also some high percent stuff too. Like I mentioned earlier, the key to Pokemon Trainer is not this sort of regimented style. You should be free-flowing in what you do with Ivy. And in my personal opinion, like I've already said already, Ivysaur is, the most varied of the three Pokemon. Ivysaur is just super flexible in what you can do. You can play Ivy at low percent, because Ivysaur's got a lot of great low percent combos. If you're not feeling comfortable with Squirtle and Squirtle is bad in the matchup, then you just do Ivy. And Ivy is also really good at netting kills too. A lot of kill confirms, a lot of safe ways to, get KOs. And some stuff is definitely less committal than what Charizard can bring to the table. And so if you don't feel comfortable with using big body Charizard, who just got to commit a little bit more to get to those kills, you can just use Ivy. And I think that Ivy's just a great safe pick to use in a lot of situations. But definitely using Ivysaur at mid percent to early high percent, I think is actually a really good strategy. Because around those percents, Squirtle loses his big strings, and Charizard can't really get it going on in terms of posing a major threat, because Charizard might not have Rage at that stage, assuming that you're around the same percent as your opponent. And Charizard might also have to deal with the opponent still trying to win neutral, as opposed to them kind of sitting back and camping and trying to live a little bit longer, right? Which is usually where Charizard thrives, because he can just turn on the gas and, blast past people, right? And that might lead to Charizard, getting destroyed a little bit because of how huge he is. So in those situations, it's better to use Ivysaur, I feel. Great character. I think that Ivysaur can just be used basically whenever you want him to be used, which is something that you can't really do for the other two, because there are clearly moments when you should not be playing Charizard, i.e. super low percent, and, moments when you should not be using Squirtle, i.e. super high percent, right? But Ivysaur is really flexible, and I feel like Ivy can be used in all different situations. And one last point before we move on to talking about the moves. I think a lot of people kind of disrespect Ivy. I think a lot of people, say that Ivy is the worst of the three, and I don't know where this conversation came from, because before the Evo patch, everyone was saying that Ivysaur's busted and Ivysaur's better than the whole package, which is also absurd to even talk about. I just think that people over-exaggerate the extent of Ivy's nerfs. I think that the character is still super decent, super deadly, and super crazy. And I think that a lot of people just, stopped caring and gave up hope, really, when the hope is still there and the hope is still alive. And don't get me wrong, I love Charizard. Charizard's great. Charizard's awesome. Charizard's amazing. But Charizard is still definitely worse than Ivysaur, right? Some people might say that, Charizard can get these super crazy early kills. He's got all this kill power to him. Shmoov's really fast, he can go all around the place. But at the end of the day, Charizard still lacks a bit of the mobility options that Ivysaur has. Charizard is still much easier to hit, and Charizard, although he does have low percent combo strings, it's way more effective to use Ivysaur. Ivysaur is just, you know, he's got so many more different options and different routes that you can take in his play style, right? So I just don't really, I'm not a believer in Charizard being better than Ivy, right? And then of course people can make, you know, the debate that Squirtle's better than Ivy, which I actually agree with. Because, you know, Squirtle's harder to hit, Squirtle can do some crazy early strings, and it just has access to, you know, that insane hype advantage state. I mean, which Ivy has too, but it's just that Squirtle requires a bit more technicality, and that's rewarded, especially in higher level gameplay. And I think that Squirtle can just be used more optimally than Ivysaur, because Squirtle is just all around a more creative character, as you'll see when I go through combos and whatnot, because a lot of Ivysaur stuff, although powerful, although, you know, really good, is relatively simple, and there isn't much room for as, you know, much creativity as Squirtle would have in his combo game. So yeah, let's get started with the moves. Okay, so up first we have Ivysaur's Jab. It's the only rapid hit jab in Pokemon Trainer's Kit out of the 3. And I mean, it's okay. Does a decent amount of damage. I mean, does, what, 15% off of that 16 hit thing? I mean, it's not too impressive for a jab in my personal opinion. I don't really use it that much. I'm not too big of a fan of it. It does have its uses sometimes when people are trying to recover, because it slightly hits a little bit under a ledge. I don't know if, yeah, no, Diddy Kong wants to do that. But yeah, in certain instances with certain characters, you can actually use jab near ledge. And if you actually make contact with them and you initiate that rapid jab thing, it can kind of gimp some recoveries, which is like an interesting thing. But yeah, apart from that, it doesn't really serve too much of a use, I guess. You can try like drag down air into jab, but that is like not true at all. And if you want to do drag down nair, there's a bunch of other stuff that you could do, which, although not true, is going to net you higher damage. I do think that using jab when like landing to try and like, you know, get someone off of you, if like, you know, it's like a combo breaker or something like that, is obviously decent, as with like, you know, a lot of other jabs. But Ivysaur's jab 1 is frame 7, which is Oonga Boonga slow for a jab in this game. You know, especially when, you know, you remember that Squirtle has a frame 2 jab 1, so it's not really the best. If you want to break combos, it's obviously a lot more effective to do the frame 1 Pokemon swap and, you know, kind of get out of the situation in, you know, that kind of way. In terms of Ivysaur's F-Tilt, this is a move that I used to use quite frequently, actually. I loved this move. But a lot of people don't use it, and for pretty good reason, actually. It doesn't really do much for Ivy's kit. I do know that you can actually get, I believe, back air into F-Tilt. Yeah, look, here we go. That's 9-hit combo, 24%, but there's just so much better stuff that you can do with Ivysaur out of back air. I just think that F-Tilt's kind of a weak option to take. I believe first hit starts at frame 10, so relatively okay. It's the slowest of his tilts, though. You know, 13.2%, but like, I mean, what are you going to realistically get off this? I mean, you're going to get people off of you, yeah, sure, but it's much more effective, in my opinion, to just, you know, in my opinion, it's just much more effective to, you know, go for a down tilt. Down tilt is quicker, it pokes from farther. I mean, yeah, sure, it does less damage, but, you know, you can get a better follow-up off of it, and it's just all around more useful. I seldom use F-Tilt now, as I've gotten better, and I can understand that it clearly has weaknesses. It's also not really that safe of an option. It's like -20 on shield, so relatively easy to punish if someone's like out here shielding and whatnot, so yeah, kind of a little iffy to use. Once again, I guess you can kind of do drag down nair, F-Tilt, but that is Oonga Boonga not true. That is incredibly bad to do, and you could easily get punished for that. I could see it as like a mix-up from time to time, but definitely not something you should be doing at all on a regular basis. Yeah, kind of a disappointing F-tilt. Say it's definitely the worst F-tilt in Pokemon Trainers kit by far, because Squirtle's is, you know, in my opinion, one of the best F-tilts in the game, and Charizard's is incredibly broken for nabbing kills. This one's kind of just lackluster. It is decent for ledge trapping, though. It kind of just, it hangs relatively low, but I mean, not too low, so I don't think it's actually that decent of a 2-framing option. It's better to just go for down tilt instead. But yeah, the option is there, and plus it's multi-hit. You know, you can always net more damage if you're feeling bold enough to go for it. But I'd rather just go for down tilt when doing you know, a ledge trap, and also Ivysaur can stand from much farther back when doing down tilt, and you know, instead of risking being up so close with, you know, F tilt, and then you kind of just be back here a little bit safer. Bashing down tilt is just, you know, more efficient in my opinion. Speaking of down tilt, let's talk about it since I've already mentioned it quite a bit. It's just a better F-tilt. It's just a better F-tilt. Frame 4 startup, super fast. It's Ivysaur's quickest tilt. And I love it. It's great for pokes and neutral, just kind of just, you know, running around, you're playing the game, you know, you're trying to find a nice quick little opening, you kind of just slide in, you know, do a little down tilt, push him back, quick damage, you know, gain a little bit of stage control. I love it. I love this move. I've started using it a whole lot more because I respect it as a great option. And I think that it can be optimized a whole lot more in my own personal gameplay. I don't really see too many top-level trainers do it, actually. I believe Pandarian makes good use of it, but yeah, I don't really see too many people actually use it. I think that it's a great move, actually. So yeah, definitely something that you should be trying to use to just get little pokes and neutral here and there. Apart from that, though, as I've already mentioned, it's great for 2 frames, ledge traps, you know, stuff like that. You know, because it's so quick and it reaches from relatively far away and it does hit beneath ledge. So it's really good, and also, obviously, when you have a quick move like that, and you're, you know, throwing it out for, like, ledge traps, it can also be good for conditioning if you want to try and, I guess, bait somebody to jump up. Since it's so quick, you can just, you know, pop up with, like, up air and whatnot, so I think it's a decent move. It definitely has its uses. Yeah, so see right there, Sour Spot Razor Leaf does actually combo into down tilt. Obviously, it's not something that you're going to be hitting quite frequently, but it is useful information to have. To see right there, you can also do back air into down tilt. So it does have its uses for follow-ups after combos. Just to, you know, push people away and gain some extra stage control. Up next, we have Ivysaur Up Tilt. Up Tilt's an interesting one. Pokemon Trainer is notorious for having kind of, you know, poor up tilts. But I think that Ivysaur's is actually the best. And that's saying something, because it's not a very impressive move at all, and it's definitely one of Ivy's worst moves. It has a pretty poor horizontal hitbox, as you know, you can see right there. It's really, in order to hit it, you have to be kind of running into your opponent. You can't really be just standing there. I mean, eventually it is going to hit, but it's, you know, it's not as bad as like a Banjo up tilt per se, but it is kind of iffy on like when it actually makes contact with the opponent. In terms of combos that you can get off of it, there's nothing really true that you can actually hit off of this thing. From what I've, you know, encountered over the years, it's, you know, you can't really actually get anything true out of it. But it is nice for getting up airs at, you know, mid to higher percent. As an anti-air, it's really, really clean. You see, Ivysaur just kind of, you know, pops himself up. And when someone's landing on top of you, you can just jet that out, and then the opponent's going to go flying back up. And as I was just mentioning, it's really good for just getting an up air follow-up after anti-airing someone. Obviously it's not true, but like, what is the opponent going to do in a situation like that? What, they're going to air dodge? You're just going to catch them and grab them and do a crazy Ivysaur grab combo. Like, I think that the option is definitely useful, and like, you know, just because something isn't true doesn't mean that it's not a valid option. It's still pretty useful. So yeah, up tilt is frame 7, so it's okay, but Nothing to really write home about in terms of how fast it is. Like I've been mentioning, it doesn't have too many follow-ups, so it is kind of disappointing. But yeah, it's definitely a good anti-air, in my opinion. Obviously, nothing compared to the anti-air that Charizard up smash is, but it's something good to use when playing Ivysaur to just quickly poke someone up so that you can, get access to using Ivysaur's up air as a massive juggling tool. It's one of the best juggling tools in the game, in my opinion, because of how massive and powerful it is. So it's definitely something that you can use to kind of just propel someone into that kind of, precarious, disadvantaged state, floating on top of Ivysaur, which is just a big no-no, because then you can literally just hit them with one of these, and then it's just game over, essentially. So really useful for setting up that kind of a situation for Ivy. Another use for Ivysaur up tilt is actually as a second spot dodge, which is not something that a lot of people talk about. You can actually spot dodge and do up tilt, and you can actually up tilt helps Ivysaur high profile, a bunch of different things. So if you're against somebody who's trying to mix you up because they notice you've got a spot dodge habit or something like that, you can potentially go for the up tilt afterwards to fake out their charged attack that they might be doing to catch out your spot dodge. It's just an interesting thing to do in an interesting unique kind of situation. It's not something that you'd be doing all the time in every match per se, but it's definitely there to try and fake somebody out. Obviously, it's going to get a little weird at times, and it's not really optimal. It's not going to get you too far, but it is a unique defensive option that not that many characters actually have. So it's something that you could use to just quickly confuse your opponent, prolong, the decision-making period in your brain so that you can, sort of figure out where you're going to go from there. And, kind of just, I don't know, it's a unique tool that Ivysaur has that you can kind of use out of this move. Like I've already mentioned, moves that have, kind of, I guess, sort of defensive properties and are dual use are actually really cool in this game. And I do think that it's a very good thing that Ivysaur has a move that can do this for him, even though it's slightly underutilized by the trainer community at large. Up next, we've got Ivysaur Dash Attack. Now let me tell you, this is Ivysaur's best move by far. It's absolutely insanity. It's got frame 4 startup, and that's pretty much about it. This move is atrocious. For a long time, I used to always think that Ivysaur down smash was Ivy's worst move, but I actually think it's a dash attack. It's so bad. The other two have got such great dash attacks, particularly Charizard, but Ivysaur's it just sucks. It's minus 27 on shield. It's so unsafe, so easy to punish, and it literally does nothing. There are like no follow-ups that you can get off of this. I think there's some kind of thing that you can get with like a sour spot, like dash attack on like small battlefield, but like I honestly don't. It's just not optimal at all. Like, look at this. Like it doesn't. You literally can't get a single follow-up off of this. Ivysaur is in a decent amount of lag afterwards. It's just you're not really accomplishing much at all when using the move. It's ridiculous. Like why do that? Like look, it doesn't even go that far. It's so bad. And he kind of just skids out. It's so easy to punish Ivysaur. It's just such a disgustingly bad move. Now don't get me wrong. If you're in a jam, and you need to come up with something quick and you want to mix your opponent up, by all means, hit him with the dash attack. Do it. I dare you. It's great in a situation like that because the opponent will be like, excuse me, that move exists? What's going on here? But as like a main neutral tool, I would strongly recommend against using dash attack. It's pretty much non-existent in my gameplay unless I'm using it for like some ridiculously insane mix-up option. But yeah, no, it's just stick to not using it, please. It's really not good. And you'd think that okay, since it's bad like this, maybe it might be a decent kill move. It might have that hidden potential to just be used. But no, it pretty much sucks at that too. Let's put Diddy Kong at 150. Wow, great kill move. It doesn't even kill at 150. Will it kill at 164? No, it won't. Might start killing now, though. Well, I would not be surprised if it doesn't. Okay. But yeah, no, it's just, it's so bad. So bad. Especially for a character like Ivysaur that's notorious for nabbing super early kills. it's just such a lackluster tool in his kit. I think it's atrocious. Definitely his worst move. I don't think there's any debate about that in my mind. Because at least down smash has, like, you know, some relative use in incredibly niche scenarios, whereas dash attack is just straight up not useful at all. Unless you're trying to do like a insane sort of mix up on somebody, but yeah. So going on to Ivysaur's aerials, let's talk about them. I think that Ivysaur's aerials are amazing. I think this is the best part of Ivysaur's kit, and he has some insane tools that he can use. All 5 of his aerials are incredibly broken in my opinion. So yeah, let's dive right on into it. Ivysaur Neutral Air is beautiful. It's one of my favorite moves to use on Ivy, and it covers so much space. You know, it's so huge, and it's multi-hit, so that's great. It's got frame 7 startup on the first hit, so, you know, it's pretty good for, you know, an aerial. In terms of what you can really do with it, though, it is great as an edge guarding option. You can literally just drop down super low. Vine Whip is incredibly good. I'll get on to how busted Vine Whip is. It's literally Ivysaur's best move. I don't care what anyone says. It's not up there. It's Vine Whip. But yeah, you can just go so low because of Vine Whip with Neutral Air, and it covers so much space. It's so good for edge guarding people. So good. You can, you know, go low. You can go high. It just covers that much space, and you can always safely get back. It's good for gimping people. It's actually good for just straight up killing people if you go in really deep. At high percent, it actually just does straight up have kill power to it. But the main reason why Neutral Air is so beautiful is that it's a combo extender. It's super good. Look at that. Wonderful. Got that nice little combo right there off the down throw. That's one of Ivysaur's, you know, bread and butters. I'll obviously go into that later, but it is a combo extender in that it leads into Vine Whip, which I'll showcase later, right? You can actually do the Neutral Air, pull back, fast fall a little bit, and set up for the Vine Whip confirm, which is something that you can actually use to kill people at really early percents instead of waiting till much later on to get, you know, maybe Razor Leaf Vine Whip, or down throw Vine Whip, or maybe even up throw Vine Whip if you're feeling a little weird. But yeah, it's a way for Ivysaur to nab super early kills is through using Nair as not only an edge guarding tool, but as a combo extender to get those early kill confirms going. So it's a really useful and versatile option. I also love it to get Ivysaur out of Tumble. It might not be the best move. You can obviously use up air for that too. But yeah, it's a really good landing option for IV2 because of like how much space it covers. Like I said already though, up air is super good at that as well, and I love up air more in certain scenarios for it, but it's always good to have more than one option when you're landing, obviously, because you want to mix things up so your opponent doesn't catch on to habits. So yeah, it's a really good thing to just, I guess, land with, and then, you know, yeah, sure, you're not going to get a true follow-up off of it, and it doesn't do too much damage, but, I mean, you can always just land, I guess, try to get a grab or something off of it, and then, you know, go for it. And yeah, it's pretty good for that. Forward air, I love forward air. It's really good for starting low percent combos. It's really good for keeping opponents at bay. It's a great disjoint, and it's actually really good for nabbing kills as well at higher percent. So all around pretty useful and versatile move, which is why it's so shocking that I actually think that it's Ivy's worst aerial. That's how good Ivysaur's aerials are. But yeah, look at how far it goes. It goes pretty far, standing from all the way back over there, and it's gonna hit. It's super, super good at walling people out. It's great. It's got insane range. Look at that. Such a good move. And it's got a lot of follow-ups too, which I'm obviously going to go into later when I go over combos. But yeah, it'll combo into Nair. It also combos into up air. You can actually combo into up air still at high percents for kills. It actually combos into itself, although that's not really too optimal. And it also combos into Vine Whip as a kill confirm. So yeah, I'll definitely showcase those later, but just keep that in mind that it's really, really useful for just poking at people, keeping people at bay, sending a little bit of disjoint, trying to, you know, advance neutral state, and then also starting good low percent combos, and starting great high percent kill confirms. It's so good for that. So it's basically useful all around. The only point in time when I would say don't really use it is around mid percent, because you should really be just looking for grabs or kind of using back air in that kind of a situation. But no, it's definitely super versatile, super useful all around, and I love it. I do. I think that when ledge trapping and edge guarding, it's kind of meh per se because of the launch angle, because it sends the opponent upwards. As you'll notice, yeah, it pops Diddy up instead of shooting him off to the side. So especially when you're kind of down low and you do that, it's not really going to be super useful. It's better to just use back air or use nair, or even use vine whip actually, which I'll obviously come on to later. I can't wait to talk about vine whip. I love that move. But yeah, fair is all around pretty good. Obviously, it's going to be just much better to be using back air or nair in those kind of situations, which is why I think that fair is Ivy's weakest aerial, because everything else is just, like, don't get me wrong, fair is super multi-purpose, as I've been mentioning, but the other aerials are just even more multi-purpose, which is why Ivysaur's got such great aerials. Like, it's just crazy that he has so many different options with these things. Next up is Ivy's back air. Ivy's back air, love it, love it. Combos into itself, that is a massive thing that you should be looking for, especially at low percents. Look at that, for it combo 19%, almost 20. Super, super good. It is frame 7 for the initial hit, and it's actually relatively safe. It's -5 on shield for the first hit, -4 on shield for the second. So it's a really good disjoint for just keeping people at bay and applying safe pressure to shields. And it's like super, super nice for just kind of messing with the opponent, I feel. It's definitely one of my most used neutral tools with Ivy. And it's, again, one of my favorite moves in the entire game, actually. A lot of Ivysaur's aerials hold that title. So back air is probably one of my most used moves in the entire game as well. I use it for so many different things, and I use it so frequently. Whether it's at low percent for starting combos off, whether it's at high percent for nabbing kills, because it does confirm into a lot of different things. Or whether it's just for poking the opponent, getting a feel for the neutral game, trying to extend myself into an advantage state. It's all around super useful, and as I've said, you should definitely be using it very, very frequently in all kinds of scenarios. It's super, super good in my opinion. Relatively low lag as well. Yeah, it's only got 7 frames of landing lag, so, you can auto-cancel that. It's super, super clean. Up next, we have Ivy's up air. It's another one of my favorite moves. Up air is a monster. Does so much damage, kills so early, it's super reliable, and it has a lot of moves that combo into it. With it low percent for dealing damage, juggles, and then again at high percent for netting kills. It is one of Ivy's best kill moves alongside Vine Whip and down air, and to an extent F Smash, but not really. But yeah, up air, Vine Whip, and down air should be what you're mainly looking for to net kills. And that comes to absolutely no surprise to anybody. The hitbox on this thing is disgusting. It covers the whole earth. It is just, yeah, it's super unnecessary that it's that big, but no one is complaining, except, everyone who does not main Pokemon Trainer. You can actually be underneath Ivysaur and still get hit by it. That's how dumb it is, actually. That's happened on numerous occasions when I'm looking at the kill screen and my opponent is literally beneath me and they're just dead. It's just super, super big. It's really good for catching people out. Like I mentioned, let's go over up tilt. Really good for juggling. You can kind of just juggle people for days. That's one of the main things that you should be looking out for when playing Ivysaur, is when someone's above you, notice their landing habits. If they're air dodging, they're using moves, they're kind of just drifting all around the place, they're fast falling, kind of just not really doing much of anything. Notice those patterns and punish it with up air. Up air encompasses so much space. You really should not have that difficult of a time keeping people up there and prolonging their disadvantage with the move. I think it's really, really useful for that. And obviously I'll go into the combos later, but landing up air, just want to give you a taste. Look at that, 30%, so good at low percent, and then at high percent it just continues to be really, really broken. It gets a lot of confirms off of grabs, actually, and throws. Down throw and up throw, mainly when you should be finishing those throws off with. is up air, especially up throw. Up throw, up air is just a staple of Ivysaur's early to mid percent combo game, and it's just a quick, easy way to get a lot of damage off. Up next is the last aerial, which is, I would say, the most infamous one. Obviously, nowadays, people are more likely to complain about up air, but we cannot forget the monster that is down air. Down air is a frame 11 option. It's 1 frame faster than up air, and it is still disgusting. Prior to the Evo patch, it was infamous for spiking people ridiculously early, and no one would ever make it back. The hitbox was too big, and I'll be the first one to admit that. I actually think it was too insane. Obviously, I would have loved if it stayed, but it was super unfair, and Pokemon Trainer was catching a lot of negative flack for it, and everyone was saying that oh, it's only Ivysaur, the other two don't matter. So I'm actually really grateful for the Evo patch, and that it took this out, and that it balanced the character a little bit more. And I think that in the long term, it's gonna help the character out a whole lot more than having a useless Charizard, as I mentioned earlier, and a stupidly broken Ivysaur, because then your gameplay just becomes all around more focused on this character instead of the others, which is not what Pokemon Trainer is about. It's all about variety and flexibility, and being able to change and adapt on the spot super frequently. So yeah, I still think that down air is disgusting. It still spikes super early. I do, however, think that Charizard down air is better for spiking. That is my personal opinion. A lot of people don't know about that. A lot of people don't talk about it, but I'll go into it when I'm talking about Charizard in the next video. But yeah, Charizard down air spikes crazy early for literally no reason, and the hitbox is very deceiving. It's much larger than Charizard's actual foot. But yeah, Ivysaur, you have a tougher time actually landing the sweet spot of the spike, but you can still gimp a lot of characters with the sour spot. The sour spot is just still that powerful that you can still gimp people with it. So obviously, even though you're not going to be landing that sweet spot all the time because of the nerfs, if you can still land that sour spot against someone who's just, doesn't really have, a really crazy, Inkling-esque recovery, you're still going to be netting those kills. And of course, you can always just drop down with another down air or maybe a neutral air. I mean, you're going to make it back because of either Pokemon swap or you can just use Vine. So yeah, let me demonstrate. Hopefully I can just land it. No, not that time. That right there, even though it was the sour spot, Diddy Kong did not make it back. Now, yeah, sure, the CPU didn't look like it charged the rocket barrels that much, but I doubt that even charged rocket barrels could make it back from that far beneath. Let me see if I can land the sweet spot, though. Yeah, there we go, sweet spot. It's still relatively active, super powerful, as you saw. And yeah, with enough practice and enough time and enough effort, it's going to be much easier for you to just land the sweet spot. Despite the nerfs, I still land the sweet spot quite frequently, just because I played the character so much. I know what I'm looking for. Next up, let's talk about Ivy's smash attacks. Now, Ivysaur is a little bit interesting in terms of smash attacks, because all three of them are very, how should I say this? They're very different in terms of their levels of usage. On a face value, you might not see usage in something like Up Smash, but it's definitely there, and I'm going to explain it. First, I want to talk about F Smash. F Smash is Ivy's best smash attack in my opinion. I think a lot of people would definitely agree with that. You can actually angle it down, up, forward. So it's got a lot of, versatility in that department. It's super good for ledge traps, obviously. Whether you want to use it to hit beneath the ledge or up to catch a jump. But oftentimes, just doing this will straight up catch jump anyway. It's got frame 15 startup. So, decently fast for a move that's that powerful and has that much range. Because that's what you gotta realize, right? Ivysaur literally propels himself forwards from so far away, and it comes out so fast. So it's an insanely good way of netting kills because of how unexpected F Smash is at actually hitting people, right? I can't tell you how many times I'm doing this, and someone wants to just roll behind me, right? Like, obviously charging a smash attack at the ledge is such a bad way of ledge trapping, and Ivysaur's got the tools to do other things. But if you notice that someone has a roll habit, or that they're prone to making bad decisions because they don't understand the character, or you're just messing around with them off stage so hard with an edge guard that they don't have time when they're thinking when they decide to try and get out from the corner, doing this literally covers everything. It covers jump, it covers neutral get up, it covers roll. It just, and someone can just neutral get up from there and they'll be like, oh, that's not gonna hit me, but it actually does hit you from that far away. It's that insane. So use F Smash to kind of create a false sense of security with people because of how deceiving it is. It is such a deceiving move, and it's so powerful too. It's a very easy way to net kills because people just don't understand the range or the power of the move, and that can lead to some crazy situations when people just die in scenarios when they should not be dying. Like, honestly, it's very common for people to just get messed up by how powerful and how long the reach of F Smash is. So, yeah, definitely be using it for that. In terms of just randomly using it in neutral, obviously, just randomly using smash attacks is just a bad idea in general. But I would say that with Ivysaur F Smash, it's probably, like, one of the more acceptable smash attacks to just be throwing out, especially in Pokemon Trainer's Kit, because it's relatively fast and it does have a lot of, like, range. It's not something you should be doing all the time, but once again, you know, quick little mix-up. It's definitely better than throwing out this atrocity. And yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's also really good for when you're just, you know, mixing people up, be it, you know, undershooting or, you know, you're trying to overshoot something. It's actually a very clean way to net a nice kill. Next up is Ivysaur Up Smash. Now, when I first played Ultimate, and actually even back in Brawl, because it was the strongest up smash in Brawl, you know, you sit here and you do this. Wow, it does 28.5%. Holy moly, that's crazy. We do it again. Oh, oh. It's just such a noob move, to be honest. It really is. You gotta just sit there and it's like, ooh, big damage, big damage, big damage. Just, ooh, ooh. With complete disregard for the fact that it literally can't hit in some situations. And that the end lag on it is just incredible. And it's super, super, super unsafe. It's also really, really slow in terms of frame it comes out. It's a frame 26 up smash. It's quite the opposite of Charizard's frame 6 glory machine that is his up smash. Yeah, it's just all around way slower than any other smash attack in Ivy's kit. And so you might be thinking like, wow, what use does this move have? It's probably one of Ivysaur's worst moves, and I mean, you're not wrong if you want to assume that. I most certainly would agree and say that it probably is one of Ivy's worst moves. But it does have its actual uses, and it is more useful than down smash. Remember what I've been talking about in terms of juggling and, you know, using up air to like pop people up? So what happens if you notice that your opponent is getting to the ground really, really quickly and really, really easily, and they're managing to get past your up air for some odd reason? Like, my up air isn't hitting. So what you can actually do, right, is then you can say, okay, I'm using my up air to juggle the opponent. You know, I'm keeping them up here. They're above Ivysaur, applying all this pressure. But since they keep on slipping through because they're escaping this up air, like, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna catch these people if they're avoiding this gigantic move and they're somehow slipping past me every time and I can't get the punish and I can't get the juggle off? That's when you gotta start making reads, conditioning, and mixing up people. So the next time that you go for that up air, think to yourself and say this and understand that I'm gonna do this up air, but I understand that my opponent is gonna slip through and they're looking to land in this specific piece of the stage, and they're gonna get there using the same option, be it, you know, fast fall, neutral air dodge, right? So go up, act like you're gonna do that up air, and then fast fall immediately and hit them with that. Hit them with the up smash. Bait out that landing and get that hard punish, because it does do a lot of damage and it will kill super early. I'm not saying to do this every time, because obviously it's gonna be bad in practice since it's such a, you know, high startup move. but it is great for mix-ups and to catch landings, and it does a much better job of doing that over something like Squirtle up smash, which I mentioned in the last video. Ivysaur up smash is way more useful for doing that. It's super, super useful, and it's really good in the heat of the battle. You know, you're moving all around the place, you're messing people up, and you're conditioning, you're doing all this juggling with up air. You know how easy it is for someone to get distracted seeing you do up air over and over and over again, and they just mindlessly go for the same landing option over and over and over again because they're just so obsessed with avoiding the up air that they just completely forget about something like up smash that doesn't really have too many uses but can easily kill them for what they've done, and you can just fall with them and just do it. It's super, super good for mind games and for catching people out who aren't thinking 3 steps ahead. You've always got to be thinking ahead when playing Smash, and that is a really, really good move to use in that kind of a situation. Moving on to Ivysaur's worst Smash attack, though, is down smash. I would say it's probably Ivy's second worst move. It's kind of an abomination of a move, if I'm being completely honest with you. It doesn't really do too much for him. You know, a case can be made to, like, use it for, like, ledge traps, I guess. But, like, I mean, you can stand away relatively far and then do it, but it's better to just be doing, you know, down tilt and you have access to, like, the whole rest of Ivysaur's kit. You know, kind of just swinging out moves like this. It's just, I don't know, to top it all off, like, it's just really, really, really weak. It doesn't really kill that good at all. It's super, super iffy in that department, despite it being a smash attack, and smash attacks, you know, are supposed to be, you know, your go big or go home kill moves. But yeah, it's very, very bad. I seldom use it in games. It's good, you know, once again, like other down smashes that, you know, hit, you know, in front and behind, you know, if you're unsure of, like, what kind of roll option your opponent's going to take in a tech situation. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's much easier to just go for F smash when someone's just around you on the ground and you want to get that smash attack punish, especially since F smash is just, you know, so powerful and so good. Down smash is faster though, but it's just, you just don't get too much off of it. It doesn't really have that much knockback. It doesn't really have that much damage. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a lame smash attack. However, it does have a sweet spot, which is actually kind of interesting at high percents as a good ledge trap mix-up. If you've been doing this all game, like, that's the thing with Ivy's smash attacks, right? They're really, really useful as mix-up options to catch your opponent out. That's what you should be doing. Except for really F smash. That one can be used in a lot, you know, more, I guess, versatile ways, but in terms of up smash and down smash, more so up smash because down smash is just useless. You should be focusing on trying to get these mix-ups. The sweet spot actually does send people relatively far away, and there have been times when I have actually netted kills from landing the sweet spot, but it's just such a weak sweet spot to land anyway. It's just borderline useless. I don't even know if I'm hitting it right now, actually. But yeah, no, it's just, it's pretty garbage in my opinion. I mean, there it did get an early kill because I did land the sweet spot, but yeah, it's just, yeah, it's not too good. Up next, we have Ivy's specials. Ivysaur has 2 really sick specials. They are some of my favorite moves in the entire game. I love to use them. And then Ivysaur has the meme tool, his other special, which is one of his worst moves, but it does have some niche usages, and I love to pull it out as just a quick little funny thing to catch people off guard. I think it's really cool. But, so yeah, let me actually start with that one, which is his neutral beat, Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed is incredibly meh. It's not that good of a move. It's incredibly unsafe on shield. It doesn't have too big of a horizontal hitbox. But I will tell you one thing. Bullet Seed is nasty after doing a spot dodge. This is something that Leffen is notorious for doing, and it's something that I myself forget to incorporate into my gameplay a lot because of just how niche Bullet Seed is at times. But it's actually really good after a spot dodge to follow it up with Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed does do a healthy amount of damage, 23%. That's nothing to scoff at. That is incredibly good for just, you know, tapping the B button and just holding it, right? But it's just so hard to pull off, and it's just so not worth it. Like, it's incredibly unsafe, as I've been mentioning, and you can't get too many follow-ups off of it. It's just a Hail Mary move, and you could do Tomahawk, Bullet Seed. It's just so unoptimal. I get it if you're in a jam and you want to mix things up, but and that's just the case. What I've been mentioning with Ivy's bad moves is just mixing people up with them because they have that utility. And that's what kind of prevents Ivysaur from just being bad. That's the difference between good characters and bad characters. Is good characters can use their bad moves in mix-up situations to get interesting outcomes and potentially be able to use their good moves to finish off the opponent. Bad characters don't necessarily have that ability. So although Bullet Seed is kind of, you know, what's going on here move, it's still pretty decent in certain situations, and people just won't expect it. Someone's landing on you, you could do up air. I mean, you could just do this. It's an interesting thing to do once in a blue moon to just catch someone off and surprise someone. And it does actually combo out of some stuff. You can get falling up air into Bullet Seed, that's 34. It's definitely more optimal than actually doing that. That's only 30, but I mean, it's not going to be as optimal as doing, like, you know, this. But I'll get onto that later. But yeah, it does definitely have its uses. But see, like, look right there. Diddy Kong actually fell out of it because it was not centered enough, because the hitbox for the individual seeds is just, it's so small and so puny. That's another reason why it's just so bad. It also isn't really too good as an anti-air tool because of just, you know, how small those hitboxes are. It's much easier just to be using up tilt or even up air. So yeah, all around kind of a lackluster move, but it does definitely have its niche situations when it can be pretty baller when used. Up next, we have a Razor Leaf. Razor Leaf is one of Ivy's best neutral tools. It commands the neutral. It is the only projectile that Pokemon Trainer has, but it is a really good projectile. You could just stand here and basically do nothing with it, but it is much more efficient to use Razor Leaf in this manner. You jump up, run back, and do Razor Leaf. You jump up, go forward, and use Razor Leaf. It's just, you cover so much more space. Really threatening, you're moving around, the angle in Razor Leaf just adjusts, and it kind of just flings all over the place. And you just cover more options at once, and it can just lead you to so much more different things because you're coming in from the air, right? No one really uses it just on the ground. That's just, I don't know. I can't really explain it myself, but you'll realize that when you're playing Ivysaur, using it on the ground is just, you know, you feel like you're, you know, stuck in like syrup or molasses. It's just, I don't know if there's exactly more, I guess, lag on it when you're using it on the ground, but like, I don't want to give like false information in that regard, but you know, it definitely just does not feel as clean as when you're doing it in the air. Like, you can feel that Ivysaur has access to, you know, greater mobility options, and it's just a way better tool when used in the air over using it on the ground. Razor Leaf is super good at keeping people away. It's great for chip damage. It's super non-committal too. You can be throwing it from so far away. The one problem with the Razor Leaf is that the angles on it are RNG based, and the distance at times. I do know that you can do the smash tag input and go farther, but like the actual like angle and trajectory of the leaf is RNG, which is kind of annoying because you don't know if you're gonna get the sweet spot or sour spot, but most of the times it should turn out fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's actually kind of interesting that it is shot at these like random angles, but yeah, it doesn't have too much of a, you know, massive impact on the gameplay, obviously. But it's just a, you know, cool little fun fact to bring up when talking about the move. But yeah, Razor Leaf combos into all sorts of moves, be it at low percent, be it at, you know, high percent for kills. It actually combos into both up air and Vine Whip, which I'll talk about later, as skill confirms. It's really useful for that. And, you know, if you can start a combo off of a low committal projectile that's going to lead into a kill, that is a huge, huge bonus and a huge, huge benefit of playing the character. Like, that is really good if you have a tool like that. So yeah, all in all, it's incredibly versatile, incredibly useful. There's just so much stuff that you can do with it. You have access to just a wide array of like different options with it. It's super broken in my opinion. It can be really, really hard, and especially in matchups where you need to play a lot more defensively. This is what I was talking about. This is one of the best defensive tools that Ivysaur has, because you can sit back and you can just, I wouldn't say spam, but it's definitely a way of getting into people's heads, you know, kind of just messing with them, trying to, you know, condition and get mix-ups, and then you can run in and get the punish that you want and, you know, kind of just go crazy with it, or, you know, even actually follow up one of your campy Razor Leaf hits with, you know, a combo of some sort, and actually, you know, potentially land a kill, so it's really, really good for that. Up next, the last special is Vine Whip. I love Vine Whip. I think it's Ivy's best move. I think it's one of the best moves in the game. It is so multi-purpose. It's frame 15 startup, really fast. I mean, decently fast. I wouldn't say really fast, but you know, it's still pretty good. It's just all around an amazing move. It's really good for, I wouldn't necessarily say low percent combos, but it's good for sort of like low mid% combos and mid% combos. It's a good way of just following things up and just kind of ending strings where you want to push the opponent a little bit farther away so you can retain center stage, and so that you can kind of just hold your ground a little bit better. It's also really good at high percents for nabbing kills. There's so many moves that confirm into it that you can get kills off of, be it Razor Leaf, be it down throw, be it nair. You can actually just hit so many different things. Forward air 2, even back air. It's just ridiculous how many things combo into it that can lead into kills. It has so much range too, and it's super hard to avoid it if you're locked in that kind of a position, like for the opponent. If they try to DI away from Vine Whip, you know, during the combo thing, they're just going to die earlier because you're DIing into the blast zone. So it's super risky. Like, there's not really much that the opponent can do once they're locked into that kind of a kill confirm from any move leading into Vine Whip. It's just super crazy. And a lot of people don't realize how far Vine Whip reaches or how powerful it can actually be with this sweet spot. So a lot of people are taken aback, and you know, they're not DIing properly, whatever, and they just straight up die. So it's really strong, really useful. It's definitely one of Ivysaur's best kill options. And it's also super godlike as a recovery. It goes from so far deep, Ivysaur can just recover. Obviously, it's not going to work. There are certain angles where Vine Whip actually doesn't work, but yeah, from literally so far in, Ivysaur can just go for the craziest edgeguard stuff you've ever seen, and then safely make it back. It's insane. That's why Pokemon Trainer is so good. It's just the level of depth to their recovery is just crazy. Look how low Ivysaur can swing with that too. It's good for kind of a, you know, mildly camping out moves for a little bit before making it back to stage, but you know, it's so good. And one of the coolest things that you can actually do with it is you can tether cancel it, because it's a tether recovery, right? So you can kind of just pull down, do a Razor Leaf, cling back. You can do stuff like that to kind of just mess with your opponent to kind of, you know, alleviate pressure from a potential ledge trap situation. And also another cool thing that I love to do is this. You tether cancel into a Charizard switch, land with the big boy, and just go crazy. It's really good for doing stuff like that, and it's super clean for getting Ivysaur out of potentially precarious disadvantage situations near the ledge. You just tether cancel into a bunch of different options to help with your landing. It's really useful for that. So yeah, all around incredibly versatile move. I love it. It's, in my opinion, his best, and it's one of my favorites, not just Pokemon Trainer's kit, but in the entire game. Now, moving on to Ivy's throws. Ivy's got some sick throws, I won't lie. I personally think that all 4 of them are super useful in his gameplay. And that's kind of something that you can say for all of the Pokemon, really. I mean, You can make a debate that Charizard's down throw isn't really that useful, but I still think that it is. But yeah, Ivysaur's 4 throws are super, super, super clean. In terms of how you can actually land those throws reliably and get the grabs, back air is a safe way of actually confirming into grabs. I believe that you can also potentially do, I don't think that down tilt's gonna work, but I do know that back air, and with back air being as disjointed as it is, as fast as it is, and as just massive as it is, that's really how you should be looking to confirm and your grabs and to get those grab confirms. But I mean, apart from that, Ivysaur's grab range is pretty ridiculous. Not from, yeah, it definitely won't grab from there, but yeah, from there, Ivy just has access to too much range with the grab. Dash grab, so massive. Yeah, honestly, really, really, really good stuff with the grab range. So that's a very important thing to be looking out for when playing the character, is landing those grabs and making sure that you get them. Yeah, sure, there's not going to be too many solid grab confirms with Ivy, but the range more than makes up for it, in my opinion. Now, Ivy's grab is frame 13. It is kind of slow, but as I said, it has that range. So you are able to get a lot of grabs despite how much time it's going to take for the grab to actually come out compared to with other characters. But yeah. Pokemon Trainer is notorious for that massive grab range, though, and it definitely shows in terms of what you should be accomplishing with their individual kits, the Pokemon's kits. You need grabs with all these guys because they have such great throw combos. I'm kind of a grab fiend. I don't really like to admit it a lot, but a lot of my combo game, although I do a lot of 6 strings off of like other things, a lot of my good combos start with a grab. And I think that just goes to show how good Pokemon Trainer's throws are with all 3. There's just so much that you can do with them, and Ivysaur is no exception. There is just too much juicy stuff. Like, there are a lot of times, and I'll admit it, I shouldn't be going for grabs in certain situations. There are definitely other options that I could be taking to land combos, but it's always so appetizing to see the chance of potentially landing that grab so I can get a throw combo and kill somebody stupid early. That's just how powerful Ivysaur's throw game is. In terms of Ivysaur's up throw, at low percent it'll be comboing into up air. That's almost 30% off of literally just doing up throw, up air. Very basic, very simple, very easy. Even around this percent, it's still going to connect, so you can use it at a wide array of percentages in terms of dealing damage. Don't think that it's actually going to work there because you would need to do the double jump for it. And by that point, you could still be able to land it, but it's not going to be true, obviously. And that's when you should be opting to use down throw. Up throw is something that you should be using. Now, you can use down throw at like any percent, and I'll get on to that next, but up throw is mainly something that you should be using at low/early mid percent. When you get to much later percent, it's just more optimal to go for down throw because of what you can get out of it. Up throw kind of loses its charm at around the 50% mark, I'd say, maybe a little bit earlier than that. There's not really too much that you can get with it. Of course, it's good for like still setting up for like potentially a juggle situation, but you're not going to get anything true off of it. I do know that at around 0, you can actually get, I believe that you can get this up throw Vine Whip. I don't know. Yeah, 26%. It's kind of okay. You can do that. It's just Up throw up air is going to get you more damage, and you can always just go for the down throw combos, which, in my opinion, are a lot better. But yeah, at low percent, you should definitely be going for up throw up air the most. It's incredibly optimal, and I feel like it's one of the most optimal things that you can do for Ivysaur at low percent off of a grab. So yeah, definitely be looking for that as like a main, early percent combo option to just tack on a lot of damage very quickly. In terms of down throw is dope. Down throw might be one of my favorite throws in the game, Ivysaur's down throw. I love it. At 0, like I mentioned, it's better to just go for the up throw combos, because some of the down throw combos at 0 aren't really true. Like, it's kind of hard to pull off, like, see there, that down throw nair wasn't true. It's not until around here that down throw nair actually gets true. So, a little bit iffy, so it's best to just use up throw, up air, like what I've been saying, at that kind of a range. But right here, this is where down throw shines, because down throw will combo into up air, and it continues to combo into up air until a much higher percent, to the point where you can actually get a kill off of down throw up air. But best part about down throw is that it combos into this bad boy, and it kills as a kill confirm. It's just such a versatile option. It's really great. Look at that. 24%, boom, out of there. Crazy knockback off of that Vine Whip, and it's all because of down throw. Down throw is just so useful when you can get off of it. It's really, really good for landing kills and for landing damage. It's just super, super clean. Moving on to Ivysaur's back throw. It's a very good kill throw, and it's 100% Ivysaur's best kill throw. Ivysaur can actually use down throw as a mix-up kill throw at around like 150. It kills substantially later than what back throw will kill at, but it's still a nice little like mix-up option in terms of like DI and whatnot. But yeah, back throw should be your main kill throw option. Like I said in the Squirtle guide, all the Pokemon do have kill throws. So yeah, it will kill super early actually, near ledge of course. Let me try it on Diddy at around 120 and see if it kills. I'd imagine that it will. Yeah, just about barely. Yeah, it's really good. Not much to say about it, it's just a kill throw. You know, of course, as everyone should know by now, a character that has a kill throw is super useful and super good, because if you're in a situation where you're having a tough time landing your kill confirms, you're having a tough time doing this, having a tough time doing that, you can't really get an edge on your opponent, you just don't know what's going on. If you need that kill to just, you know, get into a good headspace, kind of relax, and start focusing on just applying regular damage and doing your basic combos over and over and over again and having a fresh start on your opponent, a kill throw is super useful. Because you just whip that out, you get that quick, easy, you know, sort of brain-dead kill, and then you're just back to, you know, focusing and, you know, back to normal work and not panicking about trying to land kill moves and get kills, right? Because that's a massive issue for players at times, I feel. So yeah, it's really good for doing that. And then, of course, forward throw. It's just quite simple. It's just like Squirtle forward throw. If you watch the last guide, you'll know. It's just getting the opponent off of you, doing some decent damage, potentially setting up for a missed tech situation, even though, let's get real, a lot of people are just going to straight up tech that. I don't see why you wouldn't. But yeah, it sends the opponent, it does like a decent amount of damage. It's definitely a good throw for just de-staling other moves. And if you just want to apply some like quick damage, like look after a couple pummels, it's like 16. It's just good damage. You know, my motto is any damage is good damage. You just grab them, forward throw, send them off. You know, it's great for just, you know, getting your center stage, you know, claiming a lot more space, just sending the opponent into the corner a little bit, and just getting them off you. It's just one of those throws where you're not going to kill, you're not going to get any follow-ups, any kill confirms, any combos, any stuff like that. It's just a good, decent throw for dealing some damage and getting the opponent away. It's just plain and simple. And honestly, that might sound kind of boring, but it's a great tool to have, and it's definitely nice for Ivysaur just to, you know, clean things up and kind of focus on getting into a more sort of aggressive, advantage-based state. In terms of Ivysaur's combo game, you're not really going to be landing crazy long strings like what I've been mentioning. It's going to be a lot of short yet powerful strings that still pack a lot of damage and that are really, really useful, and you can easily build up momentum with the stuff that Ivysaur can do. I've already showcased a couple of the throw combos, so I won't really go into those. I'm talking about some other stuff. As I mentioned before, back air does combo into itself. That's a nice, quick, and easy, literally almost 20% combo. And then if you start, you know, getting reads on, you DI or air dodge habits, you can potentially get a grab off of that and do something else. Ivysaur's main thing is getting those grabs so that you can do the throw combos and do the crazy stuff. At really low percent though, apart from doing up throw, up air, you do stuff with forward air. Forward air nair nets you a nice decent amount. So does forward air, up air. Those are really, really good, quick and easy options to just do nice damage off of a relatively disjointed move. Forward air already starts comboing into Vine Whip relatively early. And then of course at around here, it's going to start netting you kills. Now that one wasn't true, but there are times when it is actually a true confirm. Another good thing that you can do is Razor Leaf up air, as you just saw. Really good at a lot of percents. Also great for nabbing kills too. So definitely something you should be checking out. Another good way of nabbing kills is Razor Leaf Vine Whip. Obviously a whole lot of knockback. It's actually kind of a difficult confirm to get off. Because you've got to angle the Vine Whip and then you get the proper trajectory for the Razor Leaf, but after a bit of practice it's pretty easy to nail down. It doesn't get too complicated after you initially start working on it. So yeah, really good. Another combo that you can be doing to nab kills, don't know if it'll necessarily kill this early, but back air Vine Whip, it does kill a little bit later. Very, very nice way to land a solid kill confirm off of a really safe move. And that's just the benefit of playing Ivysaur. You can land so many kill confirms with really, really safe, low criminal options that you're not necessarily going to get uber punished for. You got your falling up air combos that you can do there. Falling up air into second up air, and it continues until much later. Yeah, you can actually do falling up air into nair. And you can actually follow this up with a forward air, which is a sick 40. Down throw nair, as I've been showing before. Actually get down throw fair too, which is nice. So yeah, you can kind of just get creative with throws a little bit. A lot of aerials combo into them and whatnot. And then also there are like certain... I don't know if these are going to work on Diddy Kong per se, but there's certain combos like back air nair. See, that worked right there. Close to 20%. And back air up air, I don't know if it'll work on Diddy because he's relatively small. But on heavier characters, you can actually... Oh, it did work. Look at that. Yeah, so it's obviously much easier on heavier characters because you just catch them because how big their bodies are. But yeah, back air, up air is nice. I don't really use it that much anymore. I used to. It's definitely something that I might look towards using in the future, though, because it's just a nice mix-up option, and this is just another good confirm and another good way of just getting some damage. Essentially, when you're looking at combo with Ivysaur, just know that a lot of his safe moves are very successful at giving you a lot of high-rewarding combos, which is just why he's so good and why he's so exceptional. There is, however, one last thing that I do want to cover before moving on, and that is the down throw nair Vine Whip combo. Actually start killing super, super early. Now that didn't kill, but I got really close to doing so. Essentially what you do is you do your down throw, you full hop nair, and you have to pull back a little bit to send the opponent in front of you, and then you fast fall, so you can get the tipper of the Vine Whip. Now, that was a true one, but it didn't land the kill because I didn't sweet spot the Vine Whip. This is still something that I myself don't really implement into my matches because I just forget about it, honestly. I haven't really worked too much on it, but it is something that I know exists. There have been, moments when I have landed it in actual matches, but I prefer to just stick to the basic kind of... no, I just prefer to stick to the really basic kind of more bread and butter-esque combos. This is a little bit more situational, I would say. But yeah, look at that. Okay, it took me a little bit. As you can tell, I clearly need to practice that a little bit more. But yeah, it's a very deadly, very dangerous option for netting very early kills. So It does not hurt to learn this at all. It's something that I 100% need to work on a lot more. But yeah, it's super deadly, super sick. And if you can learn how to do it, it's a very, very useful tool for Ivy. Actually, there's another variant that starts at much lower percent, which is a double nair into Vine Whip. I don't know if I'll be able to pull this one off. I almost landed the Vine Whip there, but yeah. Kind of just drifted 2 nairs into each other. Look at that. 18 hit combo, 45.6%, and it killed Diddy Kong at 15. That's broken. It's disgusting. But yeah, if you can kind of get those, that's a little bit more on the advanced side. And if you're just picking up the character, I would suggest not really starting off learning those at all. Focus on the more necessary techniques, but those are very, very good ways of landing kills super, super early. And if you've already got a good feel of the character, you already understand Ivy a lot, I would highly, highly recommend learning those kill confirms. There are a couple guides on YouTube on how to actually specifically land them and get the angles properly, but essentially all you got to focus on is full hopping that nair, making sure that you pull back slightly to send them in front, kind of like what I was talking about with Squirtle down air, but you need to push back a little bit to send them forward to get the combo. And then you want to fast fall a little bit afterwards so that you can get that sweet spot Vine Whip to land the actual kill. So yeah, that's pretty much it. For the strengths and weaknesses of Ivysaur, honestly, Ivy doesn't really have too many weaknesses. And that's just in part due to Pokemon Trainer being so insanely good. Top tiers just don't really struggle in too many departments, but there are definitely problems that Ivy has, because Ivy's not a complete character. Once again, we're playing Pokemon Trainer, we're not playing Ivysaur. We got 2 other Pokemon to work with here, and it's all about balancing them and making sure that you're getting the best and the most out of those 3 guys working as a team, as a family, as a group. Ivysaur really benefits against characters that don't have good escape options, characters that can't combat his range and can't get in on him, characters that struggle against the oppressive disjoints, and characters that have really bad disadvantage states. Ivysaur destroys characters like that because of the moves that he has access to, because of the kill confirms that he has, because of the edge guarding and ledge trapping tools, and because of how fluid he can be at times with, his massive, massive hitboxes that he can get all these confirms off of. It's difficult for characters like that to make an impact on him and to actually survive and to last against Ivysaur. But in terms of characters who do good against Ivysaur and what he's weak against, he's really weak against people who can zone him out harder than what he can. And he's also really weak against characters who are super fast. Now, there are a lot of characters who are slow, right? And who, they're not necessarily slow, but they're slower than others, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to struggle against faster characters. Yeah, sure, a faster character is going to have a chance to just dominate neutral more and just be insane. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about, your Sonics or your, Speed Art Shulks or your Captain Falcons or your Foxes or whatever, but, there just happen to be characters that are faster than others. It doesn't always equate to, a big-time trouble scenario. But in the case of Ivy does struggle quite decently against some characters that are a bit faster than him. It's just a problem because Ivysaur has a little bit of floatiness to him. And when Ivysaur is using moves like Razor Leaf and kind of dancing back and forth with them or throwing out, forward airs and whatnot, fast characters can just get in on him because of how slow he can be in situations like that. And because don't get me wrong, like those moves are all good that Ivy has, but there is a decent bit of lag to them. And characters who are fast, because Ivysaur is going to have a tougher time landing safely after using those moves. So characters that are fast can kind of get in on Ivy when he's trying to back up and use those disjoints and use those projectiles to kind of just, play it safe for a little while. When Ivy's backed in a corner like that, he literally does not have access to his beastly defensive gameplay mode against characters that have those slightly fast qualities, because they can just tear it apart. Because Ivysaur's defense is not super strong. He's not really a defensive character like people would label him to be. He just doesn't have he has great defensive tools that can wall out and destroy a lot of people's offensive game plans. But when you have the tools to directly combat Ivysaur, it's not a real challenge and it's not a real mind game to break that defense and to completely shatter it. All you really need to be is slightly faster than Ivysaur and just have the tools to combat the disjoints, and you can easily get in on him and blow up the defensive state. But at the end of the day, it's not too big of a deal because Ivysaur is still top tier, he's still really good, and it's just a minor little issue. Like, obviously, this isn't as big of a flaw as a flaw that, Ridley might have per se, but it's just a tiny flaw that's worth noting, just to, I guess, discuss a mild weakness that Ivysaur might have, and something that you could do to potentially exploit the character if you're playing against him. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Once again, play Pokemon Trainer, play Ivysaur properly, play Squirtle properly, play Charizard properly. I love this character. It's, my favorite character to play in the entire game. I just love the variety between the three Pokemon. What you can do with them is just exceptional. Even though they're part of one character, let's get real, the three of them are their own characters. They have their own tools, their own strengths, their own weaknesses. They have their own things that they're good at and what you should be striving to do with them all. And it's just a really unique character and a really unique way of actually getting to play Smash. A lot of people are all like, oh yeah, I main this character and I got these secondaries, but when you're playing Pokemon Trainer, it's like you just have that group already in that one character. You have that family, and it's a really, really interesting experience to try and play with a character like this just because of how unique it is. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it if you managed to sit through this long video. Once again, sorry if it was a little bit rambly at times. I did this in one take, relatively late at night too, so I am a bit tired. Yeah, I think I covered all the bases. I'm pretty sure that I talked about, everything important about Ivysaur and, everything that you can really do. Obviously, this is kind of just a little bit of basic stuff, not really anything that you should be using as a Bible by any means. Obviously do more research, get a feel for the character yourself. This is just a good way to, get a little bit more information and use as a little bit of a stepping stone to really start or continue your journey and to kind of just add a little bit more knowledge and give you a little bit more ideas in terms of what you could be doing with the character. But yeah, let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to clarify, anything that I could include in the future, anything that I missed out that you'd want me to talk about. And yeah, subscribe, comment, like the vid, all that good YouTube stuff, hit the bell, and yeah, Charizard vid coming along soon in a couple of days. Can't wait for that one. I love Zard. Zard's my boy. I'm definitely ride or die Charizard fan, so I can't wait to really get in on that one. I think that Charizard is slightly disrespected by the community for being a big body character that can't do much, when in actual fact he is just as scary as Bowser in my opinion, and he's definitely got a lot of cool tools. So yeah, can't wait to discuss that one. Thank you so much for watching again, and I will catch you guys around in the next video. Adios.